All right, ambulance report for March. Total of 77 911 calls, 5 hospital transports totaling 82 calls, 18 BLS, 29 ALS, no treat, no transport 26. This number's been going up a little bit, but this is usually when we are dispatched to another municipality and then that ambulance becomes available. 9 cancels, which is the same as last month. Total of 609.5 hours in service out of a total possibility of 744, which is 81.9%. Year to date, we're at 80.7% with 210, 911s, 14 hospital, total calls 225. Heather, I didn't have a chance to copy them, so I'll do it at the break. 2 things. One is a question more than anything else. Center and Main Street. We've had several calls there into the senior citizen.
Shows that there is still poor financial and poor operational management at that ambulance service. I am not going to go into specifics because I would like to go over the numbers again and get everything through a spreadsheet and checked a few times. But one thing that I will say is that there was a significant amount of time that the ambulance, and I'm going to use that term, ambulance, was not in service, yet the ambulance service was operational. And it was, during some weeks, the only vehicle in operation while the ambulance service was running. Now, in my opinion, it's an ambulance service, which means that they should be able to transport patients if they're going out on calls a majority of the time. When I see that there are multiple people working and there is only a vehicle that can chase after and go be a first responder to, I've heard from at least one ambulance organization that has had to follow up and how difficult that is for them to continue to staff and to meet requirements. I talked to other agencies in another state and they have no idea what I'm asking, but they said exactly the same thing. If an ambulance service is running an ambulance service, they should be able to transport patients. Otherwise, it's a hindrance on everybody else who has to take those calls through the 911 center. So my question, if you don't mind stepping up there to you, is what is the opinion of the Ambulance Association on running the chase vehicle as the sole ambulance and considering yourselves in service?
It's not what we want as the ideal, but it was put in as the only option until we can get enough staff.
So when I see that there are 3 staff members on duty during an 8-hour shift and the only vehicle running is the chase vehicle, why is that? How does that match what you just said? That's
not acceptable, and I would have to check those dates as to why that was the case. I mean, I'm sure you have the dates and we
sure
can
do.
go over this.
Every single one of them. Okay.
So we're going to have to go over them.
So I have another question, just real quick. Again, I don't want to get into specifics, but I do want to ask this. So when I look at the weeks of 1/19 to February 2nd, you have a payroll of 549 hours. Yet the in-service was 143.5 hours. That tells me that you've got 3 people staffed at the full time. Yet, when I look at the staffing and the vehicle that's out there, the ambulance was out of service for the majority of that time.
I don't have the stats, so we have to go over
Okay.
it. I'm happy to go over it, every line with you.
Okay.
But I can't answer if I don't have the info.
Well, just so you know, the info is the info that you provided to me.
I don't have it here in front of me.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. So, that's my stance on it. I wonder if you want, please. Oh, no, okay. Make sure it works.
Matt Cron, 939 Burke Street. Couple items for council before I get to the other stuff. Before you go too far, and maybe it's too far as paving and things like that go, if you haven't been down on Graham Street lately, if you don't know where Graham Street is, it connects South Street to Johnson Street alongside Carone's. It's gotten significantly worse over the winter. So if you're moving ahead with the list of streets that you already have, it is what it is, but put that on your list, I would say. It's very heavily trafficked. As far as the recycling event goes, and I wasn't here for a meeting, so do we know what the final cost on that was, and did that end up getting split with Foster since they were invited to
It's gonna be
participate?
around $1,100, and then that'll get split with Foster, and then we'll get a 50% reimbursement from the county as well.
Yeah.
So we're around $200 some maybe.
Very cool.
for having the event.
And then you covered as far as the weed control posting goes, because somebody told me that there's supposed to be a lot of flags and signs and stuff, and if you recall from about a year ago, there was one 2x2 sign on one telephone pole, so it wasn't exactly clear. And then the other thing, I gotta mention it, this is, we're 4 months into the year, this is the second month where there's a special meeting. There were some concerns raised with the scheduling of having everything happen in one night versus having a work session in week 3 and then a regular meeting in week 4. And these are the kind of things that kind of creep up. If you feel like you have to go, then you have to come for another meeting anyway. So in the future, just when you're considering scheduling of meetings, you might just want to break that up. If I could approach, I got some literature here for you. So with regard to the ambulance, the current website for the ambulance has been active since at least April 4th. It wasn't last week. Maybe it was earlier than that. That's the first time that I saw it. And if you read through the website, there's some interesting things on there. Like when they say that they're a 24/7 service, that's a lie. In another paragraph where they say in the fall of 2023, which is actually the fall of 2022, they lost $30,000 in funding. It wasn't even $30,000, it was $13,000. That's not a typo. That's revisionist history. Over 2 years, it's still not $30,000. I've asked about the board of directors. There's a list of directors on there, but I'm not sure if it's accurate because my understanding was Mrs. Tolanowski is the president at present for the Ambulance Association, even if it's on an interim basis. So I continue to question who's on there. And yeah, they managed to post their gun raffle, but they didn't manage to post any meeting minutes. So I had some other things related to it that I'll just save because I heard some good things, especially from Mr. Ritchie tonight in terms of oversight type items. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, an ambulance is supposed to scoop me up and take me to the hospital. Now, if somebody who has medical training is showing up in an SUV, it's not nothing, but it's not 100% either. And it's a burden on these other outfits, whether it's Whitehaven, Lehigh Valley, Valley Regional, who has to come and do the scooping up and the transporting. And my biggest question in that case is how does the billing work exactly? Especially with this membership drive. And I'm going to come back to the membership drive next month because there was a lot of accusations about legality of other organizations. And when I put the two pieces of literature side by side, I don't really see any difference in what company A sent versus what company B sent. So if somebody does donate to Freeland and becomes a member or a subscriber or whatever the appropriate term is, but it's actually Valley Regional that's doing the transport, doesn't Valley Regional get to send the bill and your membership is kind of like meaningless? So I think that's something else to look into in addition to all the other things about fuzzy service numbers, total numbers of calls that don't add up, and things of that nature. So we were told that the review was going to be available for the April meeting. I get it, it was aspirational if we're talking back to January. So if we could just get an idea if it's going to be next month or if it's going to be June. I won't hold you to it again, but just to get an update on that. So thank you.
I will tell you that it will be next month.
Thank you.
And we're gonna put Graham Street out for bid this month, but we're backed up on Penn Street, but Graham is on the list.
It just got seen.
Yeah, Dave brought up Graham last month.
I was writing down your comment. The ambulance website was the first thing you said. What was the second above the officers?
My understanding was Mrs. Tolanowski is at least the chairperson on an interim basis or not?
She is, that was just done at the meeting before this week.
That's interesting because I heard about it several months ago.
Nope, it was just done then. She became automatic when Joe died
Okay.
as the vice president, but it was not made formal until the previous meeting.
Okay, thank you, that makes sense.
All right. Yes, Mr. Walsh, that's open.
Hello, folks. In my eyes, my glasses on.
Should just take a second to kick in.
Oh, there it is, I got it. Hello, my name is Jamie Walsh, and I wanted to